You're listening to the AFterBuzz TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean Johnson.
From the AFterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, and streaming live on Ustream, this is AFterBuzz TV for The Good Wife. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip about The Good Wife. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, picking up where the show leaves off and the buzz continues, it's AFterBuzz TV for The Good Wife.
Hello. Welcome to AFterBuzz TV for The Good Wife, Season 3, Episode 4, entitled Feeding the Rat. Aired this Sunday, October 16th. I'm your host, Billy Nilles, here again with my lovely co-hosts, Chrystee, Pharris, and Natasha Dixon.
What's up? Hey.
And if you are watching live, like the announcement said, please feel free, if you have anything you want to say, call in 424-256-1729. So today, or not today, Sunday. I watched it today. Sunday, we it was a interesting episode. I don't think the case carried over too heavy like it did last time. It wasn't as involved. I think that was one of our big issues last week.
Yes.
The case was so heavily involved in the plotline of the show, and this week it wasn't as intense.
Yeah.
So we see Alicia taking on a pro bono case. The Lockhart Gardner is working with legal aid, and they provide their lawyers time to help out people who need pro bono work. Alicia is sent to take care of this case where the only witness to a convenience store robbery gone bad is now being accused as the prime suspect.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Alicia is trying to prove this man's innocence. Eventually succeeds. Pretty straightforward case, I think, this week. It wasn't as topsy-turvy as last week, at least.
Really
I mean, there were still a few good twists this week, but a little bit more straightforward, which I think let us see some more
Relationship
Yes,
stuff.
it allowed for more of that this week. And while that was going on, we had Will and Diane kind of both looking at their future singularly, looking at what each of them were going to do. I think both of them sort of found themselves at a crossroads this week, and they also were contemplating together the future of the firm in the wake of the economic turndown that we're all experiencing. So I want to go into that first. I want to get that out of the way. Diane and Will. I felt like this week was really Diane kind of went on a journey this week.
She did.
We started the episode, and she's all about, this is my life, this is my business, the economy's bad, we're losing money, we need to figure out what to do. And her first thing is to stop helping the pro bono cases.
Yeah. I found that really interesting that she wanted to, as Will said, go break up in person.
Right.
Instead of just making the phone call.
Right.
She's like,
Yeah.
I have to cancel this. And
Right.
Instead of just picking up the phone, she's like, no, I want to go.
And I think that showed a dimension to Diane that we really haven't seen before.
Yeah.
I mean, for the past 2 seasons and the beginning of the season, she has been all business, all sort of this gruff woman, really like nose to the grindstone. And this week she felt an obligation to these people who she had agreed to help. And I think that sort of played into, we know that Diane is this extremely liberal woman in Chicago. And so I think I have a feeling that the pro bono work, and we obviously learned that the firm doing that was probably her idea, because she believes in these people who have no money getting the help that they need, even if it's for free.
Right.
So I liked that it sort of exposed that softer edge to her, to see her like struggling with having to give up something that she clearly believes in because she needs to save her own hide.
Right.
Yeah, I wouldn't have expected that from her, because she's always talking about the money.
Right.
How much is this case? How much is Eli bringing in? How much? She's always talking about the money. And so this is putting Lockhart Gardner in a position where there's no money.
Right.
There's nothing for them to gain. I mean, maybe notoriety, respect, I don't know, down the road, but there's nothing for them to gain financially from doing this.
And like she said, they actually lose because they're taking time from their lawyers who could be doing something that earns them money, and they're put somewhere else where they're earning none.
And I think it's so, I mean, first of all, I commend the writers for even putting that in, to just showing that it's not just about us, that it's about other people and helping other people, and then everything else will flow. And I hope that at some point in time that they'll be able to show that in the episode, that, you know, it's now that we realize it's not about us, that everything kind of generates, the money is going to flow in there. I hope they really get a chance to show that at the very end. But I was extremely proud. I mean, even when she was walking around the office and looking and
really taking stock of her.
Yeah, like, okay, where am I going to do this? And not caring so much about Eli when it seemed like Eli was so important to her and what he wanted. But to see her say, you know what, this goes beyond just trying to please you, because I think in any other situation she would probably try to please him, but because she's so passionate about helping people and allowing them to have the counsel that they need, you can just see on her face. I mean, it felt so real and so genuine. I thought she did a wonder. I mean, it was just it was just a beautiful moment.
Yeah, I think it was really her discovering this.
Yes.
I don't know if it was in her already. I think with her going down there and seeing that and talking to the guy, I think she had a moment of self-discovery.
I
agree.
I kind of got more that it was like a reawakening, where she, when she started her career younger, she had those ideals. And I think that you see that in a lot of lawyers and in any profession. You start out so idealistic, and as years go by, it just becomes a paycheck, and it's just what you do. And it's all about progressing yourself and making money. And I think that this was sort of like a rebirth of Diane, where those ideals that maybe she'd put aside because she wants to run this company, she wants to be the successful woman. I think that now she clearly did. She said at the end in her conversation with Will, I don't want to be the one who cares about money anymore. I want to do this because it's right. And that was, I think, it was great. I was really a fan of that storyline this week.
And I was grateful too that they had a bond at the end, you know, that they both agreed.
Right. Yeah. And that Will supported her.
Exactly. Without any hesitation.
Yeah, it's like I saw him looking at her. Like he was really looking at her.
Right.
Saying, okay, you know, let's do this.
And I think that it maybe could have been a moment where Will was really maybe exposed to the side of Diane that maybe he's never even experienced, because he's clearly younger than her. I doubt he knew her when she had first started.
Right.
And so I think that he was finally like, okay, this is Diane. This is Diane, and I'm on board now more than I have been before.
Right.
And so we do see Diane, you know, she comes to terms, she goes to meet them. And my favorite part was there too, when she kind of came back from that and she walked in on the meeting with Alicia and was like, how can I help? And I was like, yes, Diane, she's going to do something. Because you kind of could tell in the meeting with the guy at Legal Aid that she was really second guessing what she'd done. And so when she walked in, I was like, okay, good. Diane is going to do something right here.
Right.
And then when Alicia came back from the release, when he was released, and she told Diane how great it was and she should have been there, Diane was like, I didn't do enough. I didn't deserve to be there. I was like, okay.
That's some moments.
Yeah, there was some good stuff in there for Diane this week. Some nice little bits.
She had some really, really, really great moments.
Yeah, they're really, the characters or writers or both are really bringing in multiple dimensions.
Right.
I'm seeing more of that. Even though, you know, they've had dimensions over the course of other episodes and seasons or whatever. But I find that this season I'm seeing multiple dimensions, even dimensions that I may not even be aware of, but it just seems like something's there. Even with the other characters, you know, in the show. I feel like something else is there. Whether I can put my finger on it or not, I'm seeing multiple dimensions, and I like that.
Yeah.
And it also seems like they're moving, before it was just about Alicia. Now it seems like they're moving towards all of the other, even with the advertisement and everything that they're doing, it looks like they're moving towards showing the whole entire cast.
Right, it's becoming more
just
of an ensemble.
Right. Yeah.
Rather than just this driven storyline of this woman and her husband and her finding herself.
Right.
Yeah. So we saw Diane struggle, and we saw at the same time Will on his own sort of quest this week. He is sent to woo Celeste. We find out they told Celeste no. From last week to this week, they had turned Celeste's offer down. Until Diane finds out that the bankruptcy portion of Celeste's former firm is attached to litigation and is going wherever they go. And Diane and Will have that conversation where Diane realizes that taxes and bankruptcy are the only forms of law that during a recession stay afloat, because they take care of people who have no money.
Right.
And so they need to go and get Celeste. And the only person who can do that is Will. And my favorite part was when they were after she had sent, so many favorite parts here this week with Celeste.
That heifer.
So we see she's in town for, conveniently back in Chicago for the Midwestern Law Association, where they're having all these seminars, and she's hosting her own seminar, which you find out she's not even actually hosting. It's actually just a poker game
Right.
for people who know her and want to come play some high stakes poker, which I found really funny.
Yeah, that was really funny to me.
Yeah, the strippers and acquisitions and the poker game
Right.
down the hall.
Right.
But yeah, that woman, she gets under my skin. I wanted to jump in the television.
Ooh, I was
Yeah.
so mad.
Especially the scene, I don't know if I'm jumping ahead, but the scene with Will and
Peter.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah.
I was done.
Yeah.
I was
I'm
done.
thinking, who does that type of crap?
And when she asked about the kids, have you met their kids?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you guys have something in common now, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we see that
Oh,
she
that
was
woman.
she was really playing a game, because at first we thought that Celeste needed Lockhart Gardner more than Lockhart Gardner needed Celeste.
Yes.
And they were sent to bargain with her to break
Yes.
her down, because that's what they believed. And so she's playing these games, and we're not quite sure why. We're not quite sure what her motive is. And then she doubles down and she reveals her final thing to Will,
Doubles down.
where she doesn't need them as much as she wants Will. She reveals that she's starting her own firm, that more sections of her old firm are with her, just including bankruptcy.
Yeah.
There was two other, I believe.
Taxation.
And they were starting their own, and she wanted Will. She was trying to seduce Will, and I think that scene with Will and Peter was really her trying to create such a rift between Will and Alicia that Will would want to walk away and want to go with her and want to be a part of this thing.
I see. That's not what I couldn't figure out. I was like, why is she doing this?
Painting
Yeah.
a picture being crazy. Yeah, I wanted to jump in. I was sitting there going, why are they listening
I
to
wanted
her?
to smack
Yeah,
her.
and both men, the look on both of their faces was sort of this
Yes.
bewilderment
Oh my
and
God.
sort of amazement that
Yes.
this woman sort of had these guts to
Yeah, they were in shock.
to do this.
She
both of
had
them.
both of them, like, boom.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I got them
Both
both.
of them.
Right.
Both of
Yeah,
them.
which says how much power she has, because she really played the mess out of that. I was like, wow, she is really letting it out.
And I think we're gonna see some multiple repercussions from that one exchange.
I
between the
hope
three
so.
of them.
I cannot wait to see.
I
what
think
the heck
there's
is
no
gonna
way
happen.
that can't have any sort of
Yes.
that furthered Peter's knowledge of what
Yeah.
he thought was already happening.
Exactly.
It was a tacit acknowledgement
Yes.
from a third party that there is something else happening here.
Yeah. He's
So-
just sitting there like, what? Oh, if she knows, then something's really going
Right.
on.
Right. So that's definitely there's gonna be some huge waves from that. But so she finally throws out her final card.
Yeah.
And she explains to Will that the one thing he's always wanted, she has the baseball commissioner. Mm-hmm. And that's the one job he's always wanted. And she can put him in that job a couple years down the line if he comes with her. And there was like two moments where it looked like Will was kind of going to go.
Yeah.
I mean, in that initial moment when she revealed it, and then him walking into that poker
Going into the
game
poker
Right.
and sitting down and taking a bet. It was really, I was like, no, Will, what are you?
Yeah.
What's going on here?
But he sat. It was very interesting because he sat there and realized she's a user.
Right.
I mean, at the end of the day, she's not thinking about him and the commissioner.
No.
I mean, she just wants what she wants.
Right.
She wants to get him under her thumb. I mean, it's dangling the carrot. You know, I've been in situations like that as well. Like in the acting world, we always talk about that guy is like, yeah, let's have lunch because, I'm working on this film and blah,
Right.
blah, blah. Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't have a contract. You're not giving me a contract. We're
Right.
going to lunch, really. So I think that she was dangling the carrot in front of him, and he realized, oh, she's such a phony.
Exactly. And so he does come to that realization. There was that one, I wrote it down because there was a line that he said to her when he was explaining why he was walking away. And he said, why should I lose what I love now to chase the future?
Yeah.
And it was this sort of really philosophical final argument between the two of them, where he says, what happened to work? Some people have to work. And she's like, that's so depressing. What about chasing your dream? And she's trying to use that angle.
Right.
And it's an angle, but I think it was this sort of greater sort of philosophical argument I think is happening everywhere today,
Right.
where people are having to say, do I still chase my dream?
Yeah.
Or do I stop and do I work and do I do this thing that I love? And I think it was a little more loaded because she does ask him, what do you love? Do you love the firm or do you love something else? And we know that what he loves is in fact not just the firm. But we'll get to that.
We'll get to that
We'll
a
get
little
to that
later.
down the line.
That was a good one. I
So-
was like, oh.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say, I forgot what I wanted to say. I wanted to say something about what you were just saying, but I was going to say just the correlation between him and Will and Diane. Just both of them had that moment, not knowing that both of them had that moment.
Right.
You know?
And what was interesting to me was it kind of was like they each had the converse moment.
Yes.
Because Diane, who has been so straight-headed about work, has now been like, I want to chase my dream. I want to have that opportunity. I want to have that moment. And here was Will sort of, he's been also about work. I don't think he's been chasing a dream, but he was presented the opportunity to go after a dream. But he didn't. Mostly because of the strings that came attached to it, I think more than chasing the dream itself.
Yeah, the strings that came attached to it, but then also that was 10 years out. It
Right.
wasn't like dude's retiring in 2 years or
Right.
retiring next year.
Right.
It's 10 years out. So if he decides in 5-6 years that he wants to go work for that firm, that's another story. I think you have enough time to build a relationship in
Right.
2-3 years to get that type of position. I wouldn't think he needed 10 years to solidify that.
Right.
And she made it seem like, oh, talk to your friends. They all know. She made it seem like it was happening tomorrow.
Right.
That was the impression I got.
Yeah. That it was common knowledge that this
Yeah.
was happening and there needed to be a successor already. Right. But I think that sort of Will coming to terms with letting this dream go that he was just retold he had, I think, was sort of what made that moment between Will and Diane at the end nicer and a little more poignant because he, after having just said he was all about
Exactly.
work,
Yeah.
is allowing her and the firm and essentially his life to follow this avenue of Diane's idealistic dream. Yeah. So I think that there was a lot of, he finally is like backing her. And, we saw so much conflict between the two of them last season, this power struggle. And I think it's nice. They're sort of a solidified unit now.
Yeah.
And I think tonight was really, or this weekend was really the affirmation of that.
It seems like they're going to be on fire after this.
Yes.
I felt like I want to see what they're going to do tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. No, in real life, I want to see what they're going to do tomorrow. How are they going to make it more because now that they're on the same playing field and they're like this, I just could see so many great possibilities coming out of it.
exactly.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, wait. It's just a TV show. Dang it. I want to be in their lives. I want to be a fly on the wall.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we saw them both sort of, decide that they're going to put aside these business needs as their main motivating factor. And one of those business needs this week that was on their minds was Eli. So we got to touch on Eli for a second. So Eli is all in a tizzy. He is coming to the partners, essentially Will and Diane, and Julius is in the meeting as well. And
I thought Julius was gone. I thought he was gone. I was kind of surprised. Yeah, I was like, why is he? I'm confused. I thought he got the boot in a way, but okay.
Well, he was
wanted to bring that up.
used last season. He was used when they were trying to get rid of their third partner,
Yeah.
and they made it look like
Yes.
he was going to leave, but
Oh,
he was
that's
a part
right,
of the
but he was
plan to
actually
trick the
part of the
guy.
plan. Exactly.
And then he ended up staying.
That's
Yeah.
good. Okay.
So we see Eli going to them, and he, is presenting that he brings in more money than anything else is. I think Diane said that the dairy board, who they signed last week, brings in almost as much money as they lost last year alone, just in one of his clients.
Right. Yeah.
So he knows that he has power. He really has the purse strings of the firm in his hands.
He's feeling himself.
And so,
Yes.
yes.
And he always has. This isn't anything new. It's just that he had gotten softer, and I like the softer side of him, and now he's coming back out.
He just had a little stank on it this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a little extra.
He was just doing much. This is just that whole.
Right. And
So I always got to make faces of everybody. I always got faces of every character. I always have them down.
you
just
have
that.
him down. He did.
Right.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm listening.
But so he's found himself I think he's realized the position that he's in, the power that he has at the firm.
Yeah.
And so he presents his demands. He wants Kalinda and he wants Alicia for him full time.
And a coffee machine, right?
And he would be nice with an espresso machine.
Espresso machine. I'm sorry, but go ahead.
But so he wants both of these women to work for him solely. They don't get to go anywhere else. And Will shuts it down right away. Will wants nothing to do with that. He doesn't want
Will
his
ain't
Alicia.
going for it. He's like, hey.
He doesn't want his Alicia working with anybody else but him.
Yeah.
And Diane, in the beginning, we see her kind of like, well, he's bringing in so much money.
Right.
We do have to play along with him. And maybe, eventually we see that they don't do that. But what I think was just interesting was when Kalinda realized that he wanted Alicia also full time. You saw like there's something in her eyes where she was nervous that it would happen and that they would be forced to confront everything because they would be having to work together only.
Did you see the way that when they were all in the same little space and Alicia looks over at Kalinda and was like, just had that little look? It was like a little look.
In the courtroom?
I want to say it was in the court. It could have been in the courtroom, but just, you could still feel Alicia like, I can't stand you.
Yeah, they're working the tension.
Yeah.
There's still that like simmering tension.
Totally.
This pot eventually is going to boil. We're not there yet. I think we're watching it too closely for it to
simmer
boil.
down now.
I need some swinging and some, hair pulling, and I do. I want to see Will and Peter go at it, and I want to see Alicia. No,
I don't, because I think Peter would be gangster.
Yeah, Peter is gangster. He looked like he would have somebody shot. I mean, because remember I remember one time he looked like he would have somebody killed.
He would.
Right.
So, okay, go ahead. I'm digressing.
No, that's fine.
I need food. I think that's the reason why I'm going on tangents. And I'm just like, Baba, I want to see them fight and pull some hair. I'm like, okay, you have gone off the deep end.
Girl, a cookie.
No, something.
But so we did see this week. I mean, it was very brief, but we saw Eli sort of trying to wield some power.
Yeah.
And
It's not working.
There was one thing though that he said to Kalinda that was important to note for the future was he told her that he's going to need an investigator once he leaves.
Yeah.
So Eli's already 5 steps ahead. His eyes are somewhere else. So I think that is something we'll talk about in predictions, but it's really that's going to be something to watch in the coming weeks. What Eli's plan is, what he is going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is that all about? I'm just sitting here like, where is this coming from? Like I was just so kind of I was like blown. Like, what are you doing?
Well, the nature of what he does works in cycles. So whenever there's an election of sorts, he's high. That's his on season.
Right.
So I think that, him thinking about his future, I think he was just at Lockhart Gardner to just fill in the gap. I don't think he ever thought longevity. And I don't even think they think longevity with him.
Okay.
But it's just interesting that he was so blatant with it.
Right.
I mean, it's
I
that
wasn't expecting him
unspoken.
to. I wasn't expecting him to say so. I mean, I'm like, what is going on?
Right.
Yeah, because everybody knows, but
Right.
that is really interesting that he was just like, bam.
And
I just wanted to add. It's a little off subject, but just talking about Eli. I am curious to know if the reason why he also wanted Alicia for himself because he's trying to keep him away or her away from Will because he wants Peter to run, for
something.
you know what I mean, for another position. Like that was the other thing that I thought. Although I didn't necessarily see that, but it made me think of that. I was like, wow, I wonder if this is the reason why he's doing that.
I mean, I don't think so because I think we saw in a couple of episodes we talked about it where. It was a couple episodes back. I think it was like the first one where we kind of got the idea that Eli knows something's going on there, and kind of like he's happy about it. That the election, Peter's election's over, so he doesn't really care what Alicia does right now, as long as it's kept under wraps and she does her thing. I think what that was about more was Eli has found himself. He's comfortable with Alicia because it was a pre-existing relationship, and he's finding himself in a groove with Kalinda. And we saw him scrambling. Pushing Kalinda for information about the hierarchy of the firm and who has more power because it's the first time where I think he's been in some sort of a larger structure and he doesn't know how to maneuver and manipulate.
Right.
And so I think him wanting Kalinda and Alicia was more just, I'm comfortable with these people. I can make them work for me and I know them.
Yeah.
So what do you think when Kalinda made the comment about, when he asked about the hierarchy, well, when come on. When she mentions Will and then she goes, well, you want to go through Alicia.
Right.
what was she doing? A double thing? Was she trying to give out information about their relationship, Will and Alicia?
I think so, but I think that she could recognize that Eli already knew that because he was sort of alluding to that without saying it before she said it. But what I thought was more telling in that discussion where she really wasn't giving him any information. No. I think it sort of showed her loyalty and her allegiance to the firm.
Right.
That she doesn't want to go with him if he leaves. I think that took her back and was like, she was kind of like, I'm not going to go with you.
Right.
Like, I'll work with you here and I like you as this other thing that we have going on maybe. But I was kind of pleased to see that she does have this allegiance to the firm. She is loyal to them.
Yeah. She gave him enough information.
Right.
But it wasn't, she didn't put any extra on it.
Right. And basically her information was sort of that they're equal, that there isn't someone who's higher than the other to play one of them off of. And then all she told him was just, if you want one of them on your side, this is the person who'll get that. Because she said Alicia for Will, and then she said David Lee, who's the other lawyer we haven't seen in a while, is close with Diane. Yeah. So we saw that. I thought that was an interesting little thing for Kalinda. I mean, that was really all that we saw of Kalinda besides her doing her investigative work that she always does.
She's wild.
She is wild.
I was like, she's gonna get caught.
In that house,
Run! That always gets my adrenaline pumping when I see her going through somebody's
fun
stuff.
scenes.
And I mean, every time I see her, she's always got those short skirts with the. I mean, I'm like, those are so with the cute. I was like, oh, she still looks so cute.
Yeah.
Right. Well, switching.
Having out windows on a skirt.
Right?
They should have showed that part.
Yeah.
Just to see how it happens.
Jumping out the window.
Not that I need to know or anything. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Switching topics for just a second, I want to touch, before we get into Alicia and Will, which I want to spend a good amount of time on, we've got to mention this situation going on in Peter's office with this new character, Amani Stonehouse.
Yeah.
She's an assistant U.S. attorney who's been placed there because they feel that the district attorney's office has a racial bias towards plea bargains. And so she's sort of saddled with Carrie. Carrie is exposed to her before he's explained who she is.
He's like, may I help you?
And that was
she's
so
like,
great.
Hello. Yeah, she's like, no.
Right. That was such a great little
I love that.
moment.
Yeah.
She was tough.
No.
I like her.
Yeah.
She seems really grounded.
So we see that she is been placed in the office to sort of, watch them and make sure that they are playing fair with who they give plea bargains to.
Yeah.
There's definitely, I felt an attraction between Carrie and her. I think that Carrie likes
Dang, I should have been on the, why didn't I audition for that role? Dang it.
Carrie loves these no-nonsense women who don't take him seriously.
Yes.
I mean, we see him at the way he's so drawn to Kalinda.
Yes.
And now the way he's drawn to this Amani, because she was like, okay, little boy. And he definitely, that's his weakness, I think. He likes these women.
Yes.
Who have this. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
They want you to take charge, tell them what to do.
Exactly. So we see her, I mean, that was very brief, but I think that I think she's going to be around for a while. I think it's interesting to see what she's going to do to Peter's office. And if she isn't going to be on their side or not. I think it could go both ways.
Yeah, I think it can, definitely. I wasn't sure where it was going, but she seemed to have a respect for Peter just with the interaction that she had with him. But she seems really grounded. I like her character.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where it's going to go.
Yeah, so that's exciting. All right, so the meat and potatoes that we've got to talk about, Alicia and Will, this week. I love you.
Yeah, man. Now, okay, I will admit I've done that. Where you're kind of seeing somebody and you get ready to get off the phone and you're like, I love you.
Before you've said it and you're like,
what did I just do? Say? Like, I hang up the phone. I think I might have called you once. I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I just say?
I just said it. I'm like, look. I'm like, yeah, I've done it before. Just, just on road. Just say, okay, all right, I love you.
But I also think that it happens in that state. It happens when you are free and feeling something.
Yes.
You may not want to put extra on it, but you were feeling that freedom at that moment, and it is there.
Meant it.
He meant it.
He totally meant it.
Meant it.
Yeah.
Totally meant it.
Exactly.
He
'cause
is going to get hurt.
And
Yes.
plus, they're calling each other throughout the day. I mean, to show.
I sort of miss you. I kind of miss you.
Yeah. And he just said, "Oh, I kind of."
Right.
No, you miss her. You don't
Right.
kind of. You either are pregnant or you're not pregnant. There is no in
no
between.
in between.
Right.
You know,
I'm ovulating, maybe. I'm playing.
I'm just saying. I'm
Yeah.
like,
I know.
I'm like,
And I think that look on his face right after it came out wasn't an embarrassment that I don't know why I said that. It was, I said that too soon.
Yes.
yes,
Why did I say that now?
yes,
I was waiting for that.
yes.
Yeah, I could see that.
And we saw that look on Alicia's face where she quickly brushed it off and said, it's fine. I do it all the time. I
Right.
say to my mother-in-law who I don't love because I've
Right.
talked to my kids.
Yeah.
Right.
But you can tell that she's worried
Yes.
because it wasn't what she wanted.
No, it is not
It's
what
not
she
what she wants right now.
Or what she thinks she wants. Because what I think was interesting was in that moment in the boardroom when Diane is on the phone with Will, guiding him what to do to get Celeste, and she hears Celeste's name, she immediately perked up
She sure did.
and looked over, and she maybe doesn't want to be in love with Will yet, but she doesn't want any other woman anywhere near Will either.
Yeah.
So that was
She wants her cake and eat it too.
Exactly.
But it was interesting, too, how he was like, I don't want anyone else. When
Yes.
he came in there.
When
He
he
came in
said
and he
that,
sort
I
of
was
put
like-
it all out there.
Yeah.
You know, he walked away from Celeste.
He's been
told
wanting her
her
for a long time.
Yes. And this is love for Will, I think, more than it is love for Alicia.
Yeah.
And I think we've talked about that in the last couple of weeks, where we've said, we don't know where Will's going. We thought he was going to hurt Alicia, and now it's looking like it's really going to be the other way around.
But it's always been like that with them, it sounds like, with their history of going back to college, and they kind of sort of once did but didn't. That whole relationship,
back and forth
unrequited
thing.
love.
Right.
The going back and forth. So it'll be really interesting to see if she steps up. I think she just doesn't have it right now. I think
Right.
she's in a position where she's just not
Doesn't have
available.
it in her to do
Yeah, she
that
doesn't
again
have it
yet.
in her.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
she's depleted. She's like, I just went through all of this. I'm trying to fill my tank right now.
Right.
Right.
And I honestly think that she just doesn't have it. And stuff can happen where, she has an epiphany, and that's a possibility. But I don't think she has it.
I don't think I just don't think she really wants it. I still think that there's going to be some Peter stuff
I
coming
know
back
there's
into the
gonna be Peter,
picture.
and
Yeah,
just
I think
so mad. They need to
like we said,
divorce.
that is simmering and that is coming. But it was kind of sad to see Will in that final scene with Alicia, because he's just really. I mean, he told Celeste that he's not going to walk away from what he loves, and clearly that love meant Alicia. That didn't mean
Yes.
my
Yeah, it
firm.
Yeah.
And he comes in and he says that I'm not interested in anyone else. Don't you want to talk about it? And Alicia's like, we're not talking about it.
Oh my God.
You're talking about it.
No, we don't.
You're talking about it.
Yeah.
You're talking about it right now.
And he sort of walks out a little dejected, and he tries to play it off and is like, no muss, no fuss, and like that's so great about her, but he wants some muss. He wants some
wants
fuss.
it.
Yeah.
I felt so bad. Oh, I was like, I did one of these, like, oh, I hate that feeling.
I don't know if I did.
I did.
I think I felt bad for the situation. I felt bad for the drama that's gonna ensue in a couple of weeks. I think that there'll be drama because it's gonna have to burst. They're talking about it now. It's okay now. That's kind of like people who say, "Oh, let's be bed buddies." Come on now, just give
Yeah.
yourselves a couple of months. Something's about to go down.
Oh,
You know,
Lord.
It doesn't. It never works. That sort of situation
does.
never works. It's rare to
never
find the
does.
person who can actually handle that without an attachment.
Exactly. So I think that it's one of those situations
Yeah.
where it's gonna burst.
It is. It's definitely, and there's so many other things. I mean, with Peter around and all of that, but it is sad. I definitely feel bad for him.
Yes.
I feel bad
I
for him.
definitely feel bad.
Okay, maybe a little bit.
And I think
I do, because the way he looked, and he was like,
Yeah.
yeah. He tried to play that off, like, because she was like, you're talking about it.
yeah.
I was like,
Wow. She shut it down.
She shut
didn't
it
want
down
that
quick,
conversation.
and
did.
was not gonna let you. And matter of fact, you're still talking.
Yeah.
Like just
You're
Just stop.
it's
I was
What's
like,
interesting though is right after that happens is when he goes into Diane's office and agrees with her to let legal aid come in.
yeah.
And so I think that he's realizing that he may not be getting what he wants out of Alicia to the extent that he wants it.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe that's sort of what is letting him do this gamble, because he's kind of like, okay, well, maybe this isn't what I thought it was going to be. I walked away from Celeste because I thought this was here, and maybe it's not coming to me the way I want it to. And so I think that maybe is what let him
I never thought
agree
about
with
it that
Diane.
way.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
an
like,
interesting twist to it. I never thought about it
I
that
wonder if
way.
he's thinking that far ahead. Like, that would be a question, because I don't know.
I think he is because of their past and because of how many circles this has gone. And I think
Yeah.
you would have to be. You'd have to be like, okay, you know, it's happening, but is this, you know, he wants someone. He clearly wants to be in love. He really hasn't had that sort of long-term thing yet. We know that about him. And I think he wants that. And the person he wants it from, he's always wanted it from, is Alicia.
Yeah.
And she's always the one who's not there for him. And this is another opportunity or instance of her not being as available as he needs. So I think that that's
Yeah.
going to be an interesting thing to watch.
And that seems like that has been their pattern now when you think about it.
It just
That she's
keeps
just
repeating.
not available.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know what the situation is going to be like having all those people in the office too. Just
Yeah.
bringing in the legal aid, you know, I'm curious to know what that's going to be like with, you know, everybody running around and this
Yeah.
new, the new guy that's running, you know, that's going to be a part
Yeah.
of the
I
team.
liked his energy.
He did
Yeah.
have
Him.
great. I also liked him just because of the simple fact he wasn't a victim. He wasn't like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
they shut us down. And
He was
you know,
so optimistic
Yeah, he
about
was
it.
just like, hey.
He's like, when things get bad, something always happens to make it work. It was kind of nice to see that in a
yeah. So
and
it's going to be
someone.
interesting to see him.
definitely.
I think it'll probably cause problems with the other partners. You know, they haven't showed that yet, but they don't know what's going on.
yeah, I think for
Right.
sure we're gonna see the biggest person freak out is Eli.
Yeah. Oh, he's definitely
Because
Eli's
it's
gonna do
going
it.
definitely
to. I mean, we saw it's gonna take up his space. It's gonna do all of that.
You think they're going to bring back Blake?
Oh,
They're
I
going to
think
need
Blake-
they're going to need another investigator.
well,
That's open.
let's jump to a commercial break and we'll talk about all this and predictions when we come back.
Sweet.
Want to find out what the AfterBuzz is about?
Janice is a drama queen.
This is the divide that is going to carry the series.
Give us a call. 424-256-1729. 424-256-1729.
It's television, and they want it to be as dramatic as possible.
I mean, it's Shakespearean.
You never know what goes on behind closed doors.
Find out why AfterBuzz TV is the #1 source for after-show content.
Now, in the eyes of Jimmy, Nucky is a villain.
424-256-1729. 424-256-1729.
I mean, who would you guys rather hear that from? Your husband or your best friend?
The wig will come out.
When the TV show is over, get your AfterBuzz on.
All right, welcome back to
back.
AfterBuzz for Good Wife, Season 3, Episode 4, Feeding the Rat. Again, I'm your host, Billy Nilles, here with Chrystee, Pharris, and Natasha Dixon. We've just talked in depth about this episode before the commercial break, and we're quickly, before we get to our predictions, going to jump into some gossip with DJ Jesse in the booth.
AfterBuzz TV News.
All right, so Michael Asiello's TV line gossip on The Good Wife. Am I loving Lisa Edelstein on The Good Wife? Can we expect any juicy scenes between her and Juliana Margulies? Michael answered, Lisa E is killing it. It's really exciting to watch her play someone so different from Cuddy. In Sunday's episode, Lisa E's Last for Now, Celeste collaborates on a case with Lockhart Gardner, so she'll be working with Alicia for the first time.
Uh-oh.
I hear the
know.
two have a really fun scene in a bar, during which Celeste offers Alicia some advice on her career and on her love life.
Are there going to be chairs and glass flying? And beer bottles?
And some hair pulling. My favorite.
Well, the next question reads, please tell me something about Carrie and Kalinda on The Good Wife.
It's over.
Michael answers, episode 8 allegedly features some extremely hot Carrie and Kalinda action.
Ow. Wait
So
a
we
minute.
have 4 weeks to wait.
I know. I'm like,
come on. And there better not be any interruptions. You know how they like skip a couple of episodes and they air something
I
else?
know.
oh, yeah, that wouldn't be good.
No.
They need to show us that. There wasn't any hot action this week.
No, and I want action.
They've
Yeah.
been teasing us.
Yeah.
Nothing this week.
Feeding the rat.
So you guys ready for some politicos with candy? TV Line has learned exclusively that funny lady Amy Sedaris, who has booked a multi-episode, are on CBS brilliant Sunday night drama The Good Wife as Stacey Hall, a new lobbyist who competes directly with Eli Gold. and starts poaching his clients. We love Amy. We sometimes have dreams of switching all the actors from The Wire and Strangers with Candy, said The Wife co-creator and executive producers Robert and Michelle King in a statement to TV Line. The next best thing is to have Amy playing Eli Gold's nemesis.
Yeah, that's gonna be serious.
Yeah.
I want to see who can go toe to toe with Eli.
Yes.
And if they're putting somebody in there, she must be able to do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see that.
That will be really exciting to see.
I wonder if
him.
I'll hate her as much as I hate Celeste.
I think so.
I think so. I don't like anybody new on the show, so I'm definitely gonna have to hate them. I just love I love these characters. You know what I mean? I love everybody on the show. So anybody new, I'm gonna hate on them.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, let's jump into our.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV
predictions. Okay. So first thing, smallest one. I have a list of questions I want to ask you guys. I'm gonna go from smallest juice to the biggest juice. So number one, Amani Stonehouse. Do we think that she's trouble for Peter? Do we think that she's going to be trouble for him, or she's going to be helpful for him?
I think she's gonna be.
Where did we stand on that?
Yeah, I think helpful.
Helpful. We're going
And
helpful?
against the firm.
Yeah.
You think so?
Absolutely.
Okay.
She's gonna be helpful.
Yeah, because Peter seems like a very fair type of person, and I think she's gonna see that. I mean, you know, people are gonna think that he's fair, and I think she's gonna want to side with him.
Yeah.
And she's gonna learn about the whole divorce thing, and then she's really gonna side with him.
And I think we saw shades of that. I mean, she stood up and she helped them win that case, make sure that case went to trial, even though eventually it didn't.
Right.
But she, she played a card. So even though she's here to make sure that things are on the up and fair, she was not above playing a card to curry favor with the judge.
Right.
So even though she was a sort of presented as this straight, narrow woman, she's got some tricks and some games to play too. So it'll be interesting to see how she uses those down the line. Potentially when she comes into contact again with Lockhart Gardner.
Right. Yeah, I think she has an ulterior motive because, I mean, who wouldn't want to be in cahoots with the state's attorney's office?
There you go.
And her position, for some reason, I didn't have that much of an understanding of her position, but I think if she has any political, dreams or goals, this is a good person to.
Well, they said
with.
she was an AUSA, which is an associate or either associate or assistant U.S. attorney. So she works for the federal court system.
Yeah.
So she very well could have political aspirations. A lot of people come out of that and run for office.
Yeah, she's gonna be reoccurring. Go ahead.
She's gonna be his ally.
Yeah, and she's gonna be reoccurring. She's gonna be on there for a while,
and she's gonna get some from Carrie.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be some nice and hot, steamy stuff.
Yeah.
I just hope that she works out the wig or the weave that she's got on there, because it was first of all tore up from the floor up, and the second thing is if she's gonna do a love scene, they better not do it in the shower, or they better not have her laying down like this. She's gonna have to be on top, otherwise you don't see it all.
TV exclusive.
Yeah, because that wig, whatever you want to call it, was not happening.
Oh my gosh, I was so thinking that. I just wasn't gonna say anything, but
it's like, come on, really? You can't do something else with that?
But you know what? They're making it work. Because if I got on a show and they wanted to put a wig on me, it probably wouldn't sit that flat.
Yes,
and you'd be talking about me on the
show.
Yes,
it would. I'm sorry for going on, but I just have to say, because my girlfriend has locks, and she wears.
I love wigs.
My girl Carla Renata, who is probably on every show you think of, commercials, you name it, she's probably on it. That chick can put on a wig in 2 seconds, and that stuff looks flawless. So I'm not going for it. Fix the wig, fix the weave. Come see my stylist, Lolita Good. She was on Black Hollywood Weekly. Check out the episode. Sean, you guys can get your hair. Look, I'll fly you back.
Buzzy the AfterBuzz B says, get back on subject.
Sorry. I love it. But hey, come back. Get your hair
She
done.
just needs to eat. Sorry about that.
Yes. I need food.
All right, so Amani's gonna be back. She's gonna be good, and she needs a new wig.
Yes.
We got that. We got that predicted.
Yes.
So we saw Eli has some he's clearly thinking ahead. We talked about that a little bit. Where do we think? Do you think this is going to be addressed next week? Do we think this is going to be something that's a major focal point for him, on him looking what he's going to do, how to get out of Lockhart Gardner?
I don't think just yet. What do you think?
I don't think he's going to be ready to get out of Lockhart Gardner, but I think he is going to go in the corner, lick his wounds, and come out fighting. I think that them telling him no was unheard of. Who says no to
To
Eli?
To Eli.
Yeah.
And I think definitely once legal aid comes in, that's going to be another thing that's going to be a wound for him, but also could be a potential thing to make him speed up his exit strategy, because it could be just another reason why he doesn't feel like it's working for him to be the top dog in this firm.
Right.
So I definitely see some fireworks coming up.
Yeah, I see him going.
I think it's going to be a new power struggle where we're going to see Diane and Will. I hope, firmly together to take him on, because they're going to need to stand together to sort of.
Oh my God, they're going to be
Eli
enemies
Gold.
now? That's going to be so interesting. I'm sad to hear that. But yes, okay.
I think they're going to pull out the mystery partner, that other guy, the guy who was counseling Alicia last year. Mystery partner they didn't show.
Yeah, David Lee.
Yeah, I think they're going to pull out David Lee.
Yeah, he'll probably come
David
around
Lee
again.
looks like he would be Eli's.
Oh, yeah. Now, both of them going to get. It would be powerful.
It would.
That would be fun. I want to see David come back. I always like when he's there.
Yeah, me
he's
too.
funny.
I love his attitude.
Yeah, he just doesn't care.
He doesn't care.
Yeah, does not care. Okay, so we talked about that three-way conversation where they talked about three ways with Celeste, Peter, and and Will.
Oh.
Yeah. So, I mean, what do we think Peter's going to do with after this conversation? I mean, do we expect some fireworks soon? I'm hoping for fireworks soon.
Please.
I'm ready for the simmer to boil. I'm ready for the pot to boil over, and I know we're only in episode 4, so we've got time. We have 22 weeks of this show this season, so
I want it to happen.
I get it. But I'm ready. I'm ready for it now. I want something big.
I think Peter's filing. People make collages. They cut stuff out, put it in a file.
Slowly.
I think Peter is filing. He definitely filed that conversation.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to immediately do something with it, but I think it has opened up the door for him to realize something is going on, and that he is, he's gonna use it. It didn't just go to the wayside. He's going to use that information.
Right. He's definitely just the way that Will was acting.
Will was so uncomfortable.
Yeah, you could
my
tell
goodness.
he was. And
He
if
wanted
he
out
hadn't,
of there.
Exactly. And if he wasn't that uncomfortable, then maybe, obviously Peter wouldn't have had that, probably wouldn't have got that energy, that feeling. But he definitely revealed what he was doing with his wife. He was like, yeah, I'm screwing your wife right now.
Yeah.
I am.
And Peter cared because he was watching him.
Yeah.
Like, he just kept watching, and she'd ask the questions.
Yeah.
And so he's filing that.
Yeah.
And the fact that he brought up the whole threesome thing, I'm sure he's like, are you doing that with my wife?
Or was it her?
Oh, I didn't even think that.
Because she talked about it in the past, and she talked about, did she say something about college? She said something.
It was when they were working together at a firm in Boston. But what I
Alicia
think,
wasn't
though,
there.
was that sort of, I think that freaked Peter out because, it was placed towards Will's history. He met a woman at a firm he worked at in Boston, had a relationship with her. They got all sorts of wild. Now he's at his firm in Chicago, and his woman now, his Celeste now, is Alicia. Or so Peter could have been led to believe from that conversation, which I think was what Celeste wanted.
Yeah, that is. She was very poignant about that.
Yeah. Okay, so we know from our news and gossip that Celeste is going to be back next week. She's going to be working with the firm. It's the first time we're going to see Alicia and her on the same side legally, at the very least, because we know they're not on the same side in any other aspect of reality.
Right.
So we know this is supposed to be Lisa Edelstein, the actress who plays Celeste, her last episode. So as of now, so I feel like we've got to have that scene that we alluded to, the fun bar scene. That's got to be a confrontation. I don't think it's Alicia's style to be knocked down, drag out. I think it's gonna be sly and very cool, but pointed and really meaningful sentences. And it's gonna be one of those where you kind of like breathless because you're like, that was like really intense, even though nothing really happened.
I think the most that could happen is a splash of water in the face.
Yeah,
like old school.
Yeah.
Which is obviously that's not going to happen, but I'm just wishful thinking. I just want someone to take her by her ponytail and drag her through the street. I don't know why I feel that way about that woman.
Yeah.
But she does something. She hits a chord. But she's doing her job.
Definitely, that was what she was intended to do.
Yeah, she's doing her job. She's doing an amazing job.
She is doing a great job.
She's doing a great job.
Okay. So my last question, the biggest one, we've got the I love you. It's on the table now. I mean, do we think Will's just going to backtrack and try and play it off because he clearly sees that that's what Alicia wants? Or do we think he's going to actually try and pursue it from now because he's showed that hand? What do we think is going to happen?
I think he's going to backtrack.
I think so too, and I
He'll
think
backtrack.
Peter's going to come around a little bit more. And once Peter starts to come around, you're going to really see the jealousy that's going to come out in Will.
Yeah.
Alicia's going to start having second thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And not know what to do.
Yeah, man. They just need to get that divorce final so they can take that off the table.
They're not getting a divorce.
I know they're not.
Because he can't. I just don't think that.
He can't because of political reasons, and also it would not give us anything to work with. Like as the viewers, we wouldn't have that other dynamic. They want us to have that other dynamic. Like, oh, is Peter coming back? You know?
Yeah.
And I just
no divorce.
Yeah,
I know they're
at
not
least
going to.
I think that maybe
they
like
should.
next season or something, but I don't see that happening.
They're gonna get back together
for at least a minute.
I think they're gonna get back together.
They're gonna have some happenings.
But I can't remember your question, so I know I went off on a tangent.
Oh, well, it was just about Will. It was about that. You weren't on a
got it.
tangent. You were
Okay.
good. All right. So
Push
we
buttons.
saw, my last thing we saw for next week, Dylan Baker is returning as Colin Sweeney, the man who in season 1, I believe, saw murdered his wife and was so bizarre.
Oh, yeah. He was crazy.
And we see that the firm needs his help in some way.
Mm-hmm.
They need his help on something. I'm excited about that. He was such a good character.
So good.
He was
Yeah,
so
he was.
creepy. So I'm really looking forward
This
to
is like
that.
his third time being on the show,
Yeah,
right?
it'll be his third one.
Oof.
Yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
this will be good. I'm looking
well,
forward
it
to
should
that.
be a good episode. So watch it on Sunday. Come back and talk to us, and we
Yes.
will see you next week.
AFterBuzz.
From producers Kevin Undergaro and Phil Svitek, engineer DJ Jesse Janity, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. If you have questions or comments, be sure to buzz us at info@AfterBuzzTV.com. And you can find us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for AfterBuzz TV.
Come in.
Buzz you later.
AfterBuzz. The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.